Just recently I did a salvage operation video where I had taken apart a treadmill and I showed everybody what I had gotten out of it and kind of gave some ideas what I was planning on doing with some of it. And of course, none of it's in stone, but you know, I may find a use for the motor that I didn't think of. But anyway, it's a little cool out here in Georgia. But I got after I posted that video, I started getting a lot of comments and things, people wanting to see this and see that and all the other stuff, and wanting to see the builds and all that. The problem is, I had already started building my air cleaner, and I was already through all the planning stages on the impeller, and already had half of it built. So what I'm going to do now, I thought about just, you know, having some pics and stuff of the process. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. The impeller's been glued up right now. It's clamped together, and but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through the steps again to show you how I built the impeller, how I designed it, and how I came across how I got this thing put together. Alright, well, let's go ahead and get started. By the way, the ideas for this all came from Matthias Wendell. I hope he doesn't get mad if I can't pronounce his name. I think the world of him. He's got an awesome channel, and he is a very, very, very smart person. He's planned all this stuff out mathematically. I have to plan it out kind of like, well, this looks like it'll work. So anyway, I'm going to show you how I designed this impeller and how I got my pieces ready to cut and things like that. So without any further ado, we'll get started. Okay, my original impeller, and an impeller, all it is it's an enclosed fan. It channels the air to one specific place. They're supposed to be very, very efficient. But I'm going to show you how I got mine planned out. I wanted my impeller to be 12 inches, mainly because I was worried about the power of the motor that I'm using, which came out of an old clothes dryer. But anyway, this one I'm going to make 10, but the steps are all the same. It's just this piece of wood is not wide enough to make 12. And the only stuff I have that's 12 inches wide I'm going to be using for the build later on. But anyway, I found a center point here where I can hit both of these corners, and I'm just going to use my Trammel to go ahead and start laying this circle out. I'm just going to lay this out here. And I'm actually going to have two of these. Okay, now I've got that done. And what I did with mine was 12 inches, and I had a 6-inch hole in the middle. So I need to mark for a 6-inch hole. That's 2.5 inches is half of 5, correct? All right. Now I'll go ahead and I'm just going ahead and drawing this out. And basically, what these circles represent. What these circles represent, this circle here is the outside of my impeller. This circle here represents the intake, or the center, the eye of the impeller. Okay? Now, depending on which direction your motor turns, depends on which direction you're gonna turn your vanes, this way or that way. So, if your motor turns this direction here, you're going to want your vanes just the opposite. Just like that. That way, as it comes around, it shears the air off into your housing right here. The housing is designed like a knife blade here. It comes around, the air gets swirled around this way, and it gets forced right off of that to your discharge side over here. Okay, so anyway, that's kind of what I'm looking at, and I'll show you how I got my design set up for my for my vanes. I've got one line center marked here. I decided to use 8 vanes. Okay, this circle's 360 degrees. 360 divided by 8 is 45. Okay, so I come here, I mark 45, another 45, 45, spin it around, do the same thing again, 45, 45, and 45. Now, the way I actually ended up having to go half in that, so half of 45 is 22 and a half, which I guess I could have done that first of all, but go 22 and a half, 22 and a half, what's wrong, I'm about 10 off right there. So 10, 20, 2 and a half. Okay, and I do that all the way around. Okay. Then I just come through and I start connecting up my lines, just like so. And I'll do that for all of them, all the way around, and I'll have 16 lines around here. Okay, so let me just continue on. Let me finish drawing these out, so I'm not trying to be in some kind of hurry. And let me finish drawing these out, and I'll be right back. Okay, now really all I've done is I've divided this into 16 segments. Okay, and I've got all these labeled. Every other one has a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, so I do 1, skip 1, mark that one as 2, skip 1, mark that one as 3, and that will give me 8 vanes. Okay, and that's what I did on mine. Of course, you could use whatever number you wanted. All you have to do is take that number, multiply it by 2, and then divide that by 360. Divide that into 360, and that'll give you the degree of difference here between each one. And anyway, what I did to get my vanes, or to get the vane, is basically I didn't really know how to do it, but I know that if I come from here and I skip this one and ended up here, well, hold on a second, let me start on a number because that's the way I did mine. If I start on this number here, which is 3, and I put the corner there, and I come and I skip 2 and come to here, that's 67.5 degrees, right? I believe, yes, because this is 45 here plus 22.5. That's 67.5 degrees. So what I do is I'll just draw a guideline from here to here. You know, or you can do the 45, which is here to here. which I believe are 45 is what I actually did. So I go 45. Yes, that's what I did. Now, this intersecting point right here, where it touches, and then this intersecting point here, I'll take my compass and I'll go all the way out here from one intersecting point to the other, just like so. And I'll come, if I want my veins to go this way, I'll come down here and I'll strike an arc. And then I'll swap it around and I'll come this way and strike an arc. Now, right here where the arcs come together will be the radius for these two. So when I draw this out, this is going to be the design of my vein. Now, as I measure this point here to there, I have 3 3/4, or 3 and yeah, 3/4. It's right at 3/4. So 3 3/4 is my radius. Across here, I have the same. Okay, it's all relative. So now I have the design of my vein. That's the shape I want it. So now I just take a piece of wood that's thick enough. Let me see if this is wide enough. Okay, not quite. Let me find a piece of wood that's wide enough to do that with. Okay, here we go. Alright. Now, matter of fact, I think this is the one I actually used. It is. 3 3/4. I'll come off of here. 3 3/4. Here. Come down, keeping it square. 3 3/4 here, and I'll just draw me a line. Now that line should be parallel to this edge here. Now if I come halfway, which half of 3 is 1 1/2, quarters plus 3/8. Alright, I got the same down here, 1 7/8. Okay, so that's half. And just draw a line right down through here. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my compass with my radius already locked in from the other. I'm going to come back here and see where I've got my pencil point at the top of the wood here, and my compass point right there. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Now what I made my veins 3/8 of an inch thick. Okay, so I just come here, I mark 3/8, that's 1 vein, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, those are all my center points for my radiuses. So now I just start at the first one, and I go from the edge of the wood all the way up and around. And then I move down to the next one. Now, That's one vane. Okay, and so on and so on and so on until you get to the last one, which will be here. Now, you got a block that you can cut out now, and what I did, I just went to the bandsaw and I cut this line straight down through here, and I drew a line across here, just kind of give me a little extra, but I just drew a line across here, and I cut that out on the bandsaw as well. Then all I did was just start cutting these lines on the bandsaw. I just cut each and every one of them until I had all 8 vanes made. The reason I use such a thick piece of wood is because I wanted my vanes 2 inches tall, or almost 2 inches tall, as close as I could get it. This wood is 2 1/8 inch thick, so by the time I cut them, I could actually cut them down to 2 inches. And once I got them all cut out, I'll take this. Once I got them all cut out, let me see if you can see that. Okay. Now, the first one lines up on this point and this point. Okay. This arc, it should match that arc, but line them up on these 2 points, skip to the next one, and go from here to here, you know, and then from here to here, from here to here, here to here, here to here, and here to here, here to here, and glue them down, and that brings you right back to where I actually started the build video. And I'll continue on with it from this point right here. Okay, I hope you found this informative right here, and let's get on with building this thing. That thing's all good and clamped up over here now. It's almost ready to go. All right, I'll see you in a few minutes, and I'll show you how I finished putting this thing together. Okay, here's my impeller semi-assembled. All I've done is I've glued my vanes down here, and I've got them glued basically on a 45-degree angle. And like I say, I imagine you could probably use this with a straight piece also, but I believe that these the curved pieces will be a little more efficient because of all the extra surface area. But anyway, got a 3/8 hole drilled here. Now on my motor, the 3/8 will fit right here on the end where the threads are. But I actually need this part of the shaft here to stabilize the fan. So what I've done is I've made this piece here. I've made it, and basically it'll be mounted on the back of the fan, and it will take up some of that space. And it's actually, I turned it on the lathe, and it is very, very, very tight. And it also, with the little washer there, it puts a definite stop on the back. So the impeller cannot be pushed back this way. So basically what I'm looking at is the impeller goes here, it goes on there like that, another washer goes on the front of it, and then this nut. Okay, now as it spins, it will be blowing air out of these vanes. The air comes around here and it gets trapped in the housing, and it gets stripped off. I'll have a stripping edge right here that will strip the air off of the impeller and force it to exit. The air will all come in through the center and be shot out through the sides. I am. Now the big thing is I've got to get the cover mounted on it, which I'll cut about a 5-inch circle out of the middle of it, or possibly a 6-inch circle, and I'll cut that out. I'll mount it on here, on this, and once the glue and all dries, I'm just going to glue it on. Then I'll balance it, and I'll be back. I'll show you how I balance it a little bit later. All right, I'll see you back in a few minutes. See if I can get this thing lined back up on there. Very, very close to begin with, because I've already got glue on this thing. Boy, that looks pretty dabbling close. Let's see what I've got. Awful close. That is just about as close as it gets. That is almost perfect. Alright, I'm going to buck that down right there. Get her clamped up real good, hopefully. And let me see here. Might be right there, I'll do. Hold on. Better clamp. Use my little segment and centering jig. I'll use it to distribute the pressure out a little more evenly. There we go. Alright. Get some weight on it. Alright. Let's see. Oh yeah. I got good squeeze out. Yes, sir. I think we're going to be good to go. Alright, well, I will be back after all this dries. Then I'll try to get her balanced. And once I do that, then I can give it a test run. Okay, we'll see you in a little while. Okay, well, probably the best way I can think of to maybe balance something is to get it on a balanced point. So my little girl's got this marble. It's a great big marble, and what I did, I just put it in the hole there, and I really can't believe it's balanced as well as it is, but it doesn't really move. You know, if you touch it, you know, it'll move, but generally, you know, it's balanced. It's balanced very well. So I may just give this thing a trial run just to see how it runs. Then we'll see. Let me hook this motor up and let's just see how this thing runs. I'll be right back. Well, oh boy, here we go. Let me see. Let me get my safety glasses. We're going to give this old girl a shot. See how she does. Let me get on this side over here. I don't want any exploding parts to hit me in the face or something. Let's just see. Whoa. see. It actually looks to be in pretty good balance. I've got a little bit of wobble here, but it's not shaking anything. The motor's not shaking, so it's in pretty good. So the intake suction there moves on around, blows to the outside. I love it. I'm thinking this is going to be a pretty good pump. Of course, Matthias, whatever how you pronounce it, his name. He was able to measure the current and all of that on the motor. I don't know, but this motor doesn't seem to have any problems pulling this thing. I think I could have made it bigger, actually. But I've got a 6-inch intake here, and well, I don't know. I'm about so excited now. I'm wanting to go ahead and get this housing built, but it's about 11 o'clock, and I need to get on in there and call it a night. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and set this back up and clamp it all down good, make sure everything's stuck together real good before I actually start assembling anything for tomorrow. So anyway, I'll be back in the morning to see how this is all going to go. I believe this thing is going to work fantastic. I hope. I have to wait until after I get the housing built, see how it strips the air, what kind of air can flow, you know, around and through this thing and all. So hopefully the housing will go good. Okay, it's been an interesting build. I've enjoyed it.